Alrighty gamers, how's it going? Daybreaker Rein here, coming at you through your video scope with more of a dose of retro, and we are going to be continuing our playthrough of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, the Japanese Sega Saturn version, Maria mode. I'm looking forward to this, and before I get started, I'm going to actually be in the public channel chat of the Infinite Ammo Syndicate's Discord. So for any of you who are members of that Discord and you want to join me and just chat it up with me, feel free. I just wanted to make my intro before I unmuted myself, and I will be streaming typically like I usually do for about an hour and a half. Forgot to start the timer like I usually do, typical Daybreaker. And yeah, so let's get right into it. I'm going to unmute myself and undeafen myself from the Discord group. I'm going to keep that open so I can keep seeing who ends up joining, if anybody. I actually have it set to voice activity, so that way I don't have to worry about that. So let's... Sega Saturn, that's what I want. I had to double check too real quick before I started if Daemon Tools was running. The Saturn emulator, for those of you who don't know, is extremely picky with how you have to set it up. The version I'm actually using is an older version. There's actually newer versions of this particular emulator out in existence. I just used the older version because it's the only one I can actually figure out how to get to working. I actually downloaded the newer version and I couldn't get it to work in the same manner that I got the old one to work. So I've just been using the old one. It works for what is necessary for at least a few games that I want to have actually played. There was also something I wanted to see. Do you guys actually... Oh, that actually does show up. Oh my god. That's ridiculous. Yeah. Okay. We'll keep that up because the freaking lighting is going to go bonkers if I actually keep that up. Hope you guys are all doing absolutely wonderful today. I actually am going to cheat just a tiny tad bit. I actually, like I said in the last stream, I was going to look up and see what Maria could actually do in this mode. And believe it or not, I looked up her move list. So, this attack, her chi attack, is supposed to have a charge. It's supposed to charge. Oh, look at that. It actually totally does charge like Mega Man. Oh, that's freaking crazy. Okay, it just takes a minute for it to charge. I actually didn't think you could charge it. That's freaking pretty cool. So it's almost like Mega Man in that aspect. I'm probably gonna regret freaking wasting all my MP that early. So for a lot of this playthrough, I'm gonna be skipping a lot of stuff. Like, I'm not going to focus too heavily on areas that I don't need to go into, like areas that you know, have items and stuff like that that Maria can't gather. I do believe that there is reason to go in here because I want to say that there's a health upgrade that actually is not. Yes. Cool. Yeah, but she has a crap ton of moves that she can do. It's crazy. Like, so I actually looked up the combos, and that's how I found out about the charge ability. I kind of figured as much that there'd actually be a charge ability. Yeah, you can't go that way. Can't go that way. I don't know if it activates, like if you go take the ferryman in the other area and you actually come back if the ferryman shows up, like how it does for Alucard. I don't remember if that's a thing or not. So her hearts cap out at 999, but given the fact that she has the mana bar system and she has all these different spells and stuff that she could do, it's almost like, why do you need that many hearts? It's kind of weird. But I hope you guys don't mind that I'm streaming early. Streaming a lot earlier than I usually do. I just want to be able to be free in the evening. I'm expecting a very important phone call. Hopefully sometime today. I don't know if it's today because it's already 6 o'clock where this phone call would be coming from. So I'm getting into school, for those of you who don't know, and I've pretty much been accepted. I just have some finalizations and registries to actually make do on, and I don't have much time to do that, so I need to get it done as quickly as possible. The university that I have applied for starts their online courses in about a week. So, oh yeah, we could totally go through the optional area. I'm wondering if I should change out my sub-weapon to something else. I'm thinking the holy water just isn't cutting it. Okay, it does go down briefly, so I do think her health does increase, but she definitely does have a lot more defense off the bat than Richter does. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's just because they spent more time working on this character and this mode specifically. Okay, yeah, I'm not looking for 100% map coverage, so I don't really need to go all the way. Well, I can't remember. That's the only thing. I can't remember if there's actually like a health upgrade up this way. I think there might be. Yeah, that's freaking ridiculous. I'm curious because I've gotten up to Galamuth. Like, I am real close to fighting Galamuth as Richter in the Richter gameplay videos. I wonder how well Maria would fare, because the fight with Richter is a pain. And I don't think I've ever done it, because unfortunately Galamuth doesn't take to just being Hydrostormed to death, so... I think I did look up a video one time, and I think somebody did say to use the dash a lot, like use Richter's dash consistently, because that'll get the most, you'll get the most damage out of that. Yeah, I can't remember if there's a health upgrade. I don't think it is. I just wanted to, you know, I guess it's kind of like one of those things where I just want as much health as I can because I don't know how bad the later bosses are going to be. Well, that was fail. I charged it and it didn't freaking do nothing. Oh, man. Okay, so since I'm here at the save point, I want to mess around real quick, and we're gonna mess around with some of these moves. I want to actually see if I can pull them off. Some of these button combinations are insane. Okay, so I figured out how to do the fire one, but there's this weird one where it's like, okay, so you start with like up, go diagonally up, so it's like, oh, that is. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. That's a real... And it may be because of this D-pad, like, I don't think that that's actually happening. Because it's just a really... It's a really weird combination. It's like you start from up and go down, basically. And I don't think I can actually get that consistently. Like, I can get like, Hadokens and stuff, like Hadoken inputs consistently, but anything like that is going to be... So this one's kind of interesting. This one is supposed to summon the dragon. Can control Dragon Wolf while in play, so you go... So you... I wonder if I can't... Well, no, that's not right. I was about to say I wonder if I can't cast stuff in the save room, but obviously I did that, so... Does it care about orientation? So it's like... So if I'm facing this way, it would be backwards. God, man. Yeah, these combos are freaking insane. I will worry about those later. For now, it's not important that I need to do them. I found out how to do the charge. That's kind of the more important thing. I'm actually curious to see how well that works against bosses. But we're going to go to the optional area. Because this will be the first time I've actually played this on stream. Like, I actually, to be fair, I did play this. I played this particular version as Alucard on stream once. I played it for Extra Life 1 year. And I only played about an hour of it, so I probably got about as far as I did with Maria, but then I got the hankering to actually play through the rest of the game as Alucard, so I didn't play that all on stream. Oh, that's so much bull. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, one of the interesting things about the Saturn version is they added a couple new areas that are only accessible in this version, and they were never made available in any other version of Symphony 2 have been released. A lot of people don't really care for these particular areas because a lot of them is just asset flipping from other areas in the game. So a lot of people were less than impressed, and I mean that's a fair assessment. I mean there's really nothing impressive going on in these areas. Like, yeah, you get the cool optional the new music in these areas, and yeah, there's items specific in here for Alucard. So these areas are kind of less impressive when you play as any other character. Ah, knocked me out of my charge. But yeah, you get something called like the Astral Dagger, I think, here. Hey, how's it going, Josine? I found out some stuff. I found out how to charge. And it's interesting. Okay, so she does a little bit more damage with the level 2. Her level 3 is really interesting. She just like launches a crap ton of orb, like a freaking huge ass orb. That's cool. Yeah, that's the thing that I always think is funny. You actually have to come in through this area, through the underground cavern. You can't come out through the other side, through the marble gallery. Oh yeah, that's right. There are a couple of specific enemies to this area that were new. Like these weird freaking will-o-wisp things. These little gargoyle things. They show up in one of the other areas as well. Yeah, but you got these spooky ghosts. Okay, so that's all I have to do is just I have to axe them to death. But yeah.
This is something different.
Oh, hey, how's it going, Sing? How are you today?
Not bad, how are you?
Doing good. Doing good.
So this is the Saturn version, I see?
Yes, this is the Saturn version. I hadn't actually played the Maria mode, so I figured I'd play that on stream for people since I'm doing the Richter gameplay mode from the same version on my channel.
Okay. How is it?
It's interesting. Maria, I like this version of Maria a lot more than the one that ended up in the Dracula X Chronicles version of Symphony.
So how exactly does she play differently in this one?
In this one, she actually has a mana bar, which she doesn't have. She plays more akin to how her original playstyle was in Rondo of Blood in the remastered version. So she just throws her pigeons or owls or whatever, and then her sub-weapons are all her guardian familiars. In this, she has a mana bar, and her guardian familiars are all based on button commands. So like a Hadoken does like her guardian knuckle, and then I was able to get the fire familiar to come out, but the other button combinations are really weird. And then she also, her primary attack is basically Yusuke's spirit gun in this version. And you can actually charge it up to 3 levels, which I just found out today, so that's helpful.
So I take it doesn't take up that much mana.
Yeah.
And this is supposed to be one of the new areas?
Yeah, this is a connecting area between the underground caverns and the marble gallery.
Yeah, I know it's because they're playing those Charlie Brown ghosts.
Yeah. Here, I'm actually going to turn that down just a tad. It's kind of loud on my end. Which is weird because it's not that loud. I usually keep it pretty low. Okay, there we go. That should be a little bit better. Yeah, and I think in this version, I don't remember in the remaster if she had the triple jump. She has a triple jump in this version. I think she does in the remaster, but I can't really remember.
I don't remember having that in other.
Yeah, I think that's exclusive maybe to this version, because I know she has a double jump in Rondo of Blood when you play as her, and I think she also had it, well, I mean, every character I think had a double jump in Harmony of Despair.
Mm-hmm. But does she have a jump kick?
Yes, she does. That's another thing I forgot. You can actually press a button to just do like a standing kick, and then if you double dash and run, she has a flying kick that she can do.
Oh, okay.
I'm really sad that they didn't include this mode as like an option. Like, I think that would be like a little bit over excessive to do 2 specific Maria modes, but it would have been nice to see this version come back in the remastered version. I think the one thing that I really like, not the mode itself, it's just her sprite is so like drastically different in the remaster, like almost like an HD sprite. So it's really jarring because like Richter's sprite is, of course, is just his sprite from Rondo of Blood with just like a little bit more animations to his sprite sheet. And Alucard, of course, was made specifically for Symphony. So it's just really weird to see like how like more intuitive her sprite is in the remaster. It just looks like out of place, considering it's like this game was not HD by any means. So.
Yeah, this version gave just one.
Yeah, her sprite sheet that she had actually in the few cutscenes where you run into her, she's actually that sprite sheet. And she's also, this was the first mode that included the optional fight where you actually fight her as Alucard when you meet up with her to get the holy glasses. Okay, that move is actually really nice because that actually pierces, so that's nice.
Oh, that's some charge buster action going on there.
Yeah. I originally had the idea that she could actually charge. I just didn't think that because like at first like it's not apparent like once you start charging, so I didn't realize it at first. But then like I looked it up and it's like, oh yeah, it has up to 4 levels of charge, and I'm like, oh, I didn't think you could, but I guess you can. Makes more sense. Oh yeah.
So I think you played Curse of the Moon recently.
Curse of the Moon? No, I actually haven't yet. I've been wanting to get it, I just haven't had the money for it. I know it's really cheap, so that's really not an excuse, but I've heard really good things about it, so I'm
yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've been super excited too.
It's a lot of replay value on that because of all the different ways you can complete the game.
Yeah. I'm glad too, because I was a bit concerned, because you know it's like I know that was a stretch goal, but like everybody was like freaking out thinking they changed the name of Bloodstained, so it's like no, it's just a spin-off game that we decided to make as like a tie-in, you know, just to tide you guys over until the actual full game's released.
Yeah, I think they were originally going to make it as a prequel, but then they changed it to just a spin-off.
Oh, okay. All I know is that I think this is shaping up to be a lot better than Mighty Number 9.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I don't know if any of the others told you. I ended up actually buying Mighty Number 9. Like I bought it. I bought it.
Have a legit copy too.
I bought it secondhand, so I got it super cheap. But I wanted to try it, you know, just because I felt personally a lot of my bias was coming from the fact that like the Kickstarter was just such like an absolute fiasco of just fake promises and all everything like that. I don't think it's horrible from the eyes of like just like I completely understand and understand where people are coming from, like who like backed it. Like they got screwed, you know, and I think Inafune was like in over his head with that one. Like I really think that like just somewhere in the development cycle like something changed, because like I kept hearing that like alpha builds of the game were radically different to what the finished product was, and I know a lot of people preferred the alpha.
Like the engine a few times just to keep it consistent with all platforms, which honestly was a big mistake. They shouldn't have supported that many platforms.
Yeah, I think they probably would have been better to just support specific platforms, like just shoot for the consoles, don't shoot for all the handheld ports and all that jazz. Like, because I think I don't even think the Vita port came out, the Vita or the Switch port. Like those are just pretty much like MIA as far as I can tell. So
what was I gonna say? I actually played through the Ray DLC as well.
Mm-hmm.
Very frustrating because of a very huge bug involving one of the bosses. I don't know if you've beaten the game, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so you might not know what I'm talking about, but it's one of the endgame bosses that involves a conveyor belt.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's bugged where normally it's stationary to the right of the conveyor belt, but for some reason in the Ray DLC,
Mm-hmm.
it gets dragged toward you.
Oh,
because,
wow.
I guess its brain box prevents it from having you jump over it. So if it gets pulled all the way to the left, guess what happens?
You die.
Yes.
Wow.
So it's RNG if you get a chance to kill it quickly before that happens.
Wow. That's really bad. Like,
yeah, I don't know if it's reproducible though. It kept happening to me the one time I was playing through that boss.
oh, wow. That's crazy. Yeah, God. I think it's so crazy. Like, so many people were excited for that. You would have thought, like, and that's why I'm really glad Iga has been taking his time with Bloodstained. Like, I know that it was originally supposed to come out like earlier, like last year, I think, or something. But he's like pushed it back and delayed it, and it's just like he's seen what happened with Mighty Number 9. He doesn't want that to happen with Bloodstained.
He's been a lot more transparent with all the efforts.
Yeah. You know, he's got a lot more on his plate to deal with, you know, because of that backlash. You know, he doesn't want to piss off, like, you know, a whole other fan base, and just like nobody has faith in crap anymore until, you know, but I mean, then again, you know, from the ashes of Mighty Number 9 came Mega Man 11. So
absolutely.
I mean, Konami, I have no faith in this whatsoever, and I would never wish this. But if Bloodstained turned out to be a huge, gigantic bomb like Mighty Number 9 did, Konami might try to capitalize on that and be like, oh, hey, look, we're bringing back old school Castlevania. You know?
Or it could just be the other way around, and Bloodstained could be a huge success, and they could try to capitalize on that.
Yeah, that too. I mean, they're doing that mobile game right now. I mean, it's Japan only, but it's basically like Harmony of Despair-esque mobile game that they're doing. I forget what it's called, like Encore of the Night or something like that. But yeah, I mean, like, I got excited when I heard about that, but then it's like, oh, it's for the Japanese mobile market. And I'm like, oh, of course.
Yeah, they're having rumors about some other Castlevania shit, but I don't know, maybe it could have been just that.
Yeah. But, I mean, at least here in the West, and I mean, of course, you know, also in the East, because I'm sure they have Netflix, we got the Castlevania anime, so that's something, if anything, and I can't be...
It's better than nothing.
Yeah, I mean, definitely... I definitely agree with a lot of people, like, with the 4 episodes that have come out, you know, it felt rushed. You know, they had a lot of ground to cover in just those 4 episodes, but I'm hoping that with the episode count being doubled, so there's 8 episodes in the next season, that they have a little bit more leg work, leg room to actually flesh things out a little bit more.
Didn't they already announce a third season?
They might have, but I'm still like, I know that they said that like it was like summer of this year was when the next season was supposed to come out, so I still haven't heard of an actual like official date just yet, so hopefully it comes out this year. I'd like it to. Oh god, these frogs are annoying. Oh!
Oh yeah, this is always fun trying to break that one.
I remember like the very first time I played through this, and like I was actually coherent enough like as a gamer to actually play it, because like the first couple of times I played this as a kid, like I didn't understand how the game worked, so like anytime I got new equipment, I equipped it immediately. Like I didn't even know that there was like stats or anything like that. I wasn't familiar with like the RPG format.
Oh, I see.
So I remember when I actually got to the point where I got familiar with the game, I got stuck at that part for like ever trying to figure out how that bridge worked. I was like, how do I get down there? There's items down there I want.
Also, yeah, those water effects aren't very good.
Oh, yeah. And it could also be, too, like, I don't know how much better it looks on original hardware. It could be that...
Oh, you're playing this on an emulator?
Oh, yeah, dude. Like, I'd be hard-pressed to freaking buy an actual physical copy of this game, because it's freaking expensive. It's one of the few games, because, like, it was only released in Japan. It wasn't released in, like, Europe or anything like that, so it's super expensive because it's sought after by collectors. So it's just like one of those things where like I'm just like I don't want to spend $120 on a physical copy. So that's why I went through the very long and tedious process of figuring out how to get Saturn emulation to work properly. Because I said it.
Been fun.
Oh god. So this build that I'm using of the Saturn emulator has a newer version, but I couldn't get the newer version to work, so I went back to this version because it works. Yeah. Like, I don't know what they did with the newer version. It doesn't work the same way. And so, like, I just stuck with this version because I can actually get it to have consistent results.
I swear I've had similar experiences with, what was it called? EPSC?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. What is this one called?
I'd have to look at the file name. I think it's called SSF. And the version I'm using... Yeah, the version I'm using is 0.11 Alpha R5. Like, it's already in... It's been in beta. Oh, that's fire damage. That's why he's not doing any damage. I think there's a beta build of this that I tried, but yeah, I couldn't get it to work, so...
So it's not even in 1.0 yet?
No. Like, it's one of those weird things where, like, I know for a long time... Oh, jeez, I'm out of mana. It's one of those weird things where, like, a lot of the people who were developing these emulators kind of just dropped the ball. They just stopped working on it. I have checked. There are newer emulators that weren't on... because I go to EMU Paradise a lot for, like, my ROMs and things like that. And I've noticed that there are some new emulators that have popped up for the Saturn selection. So I don't know if somebody else has, like, taken up the task to try to get an actual... proper emulator, but for the most part this one works. Like, I use this to play some of my physical discs and it worked just fine, so I just stick with this version.
Just gotta step out for a few moments. I'll be back.
Okay. Okay, why am I'm not even... I shouldn't even be focusing on killing these enemies. God, really? It's only been half an hour? Feels like it's been a lot longer than that. Ah, that's alright. That's alright. I streamed early because I wanted to have time to stream. So I can be playing possibly Dauntless later for the remainder of my evening until I'm waiting for that phone call. Okay, no, I don't need to go anywhere. God. Damn it. Wow, that does no more damage. That's really awful. Okay, yeah, I need to ignore these areas that I don't need to go into where there's actual items, because there's really no point. Thankfully, the ending isn't tucked away behind the map rate for Maria and Richter, I would assume. Don't know if you're still there, Josine, but how have you been? I think I asked you earlier. Have you been on this fine and glorious day? I'm gonna absolutely trash Legion, I'm sure. Okay, I'm curious. Okay, I guess it only actually hurts certain enemies. Like, it only affects enemies. Oh, that reminds me. That was an achievement in freaking Harmony of Despair. I remember that. Okay, no, that's the way to the spike room. Don't need to go there. Oh god, this is awful. More health! Yay! Ow! Asshole. Die, please. There we go. I can just jump over these guys. Oh crap. Yeah, let's please not die to this guy. I did in my Richter playthrough. I don't need to die to him. Oh god, he can freaking shoot that far. Holy crap. Okay, yeah, before I die, let's not do that. Okay, just run. Crap. Just spam throw axes. Yes. Oh god. That was jarring. Like, I thought I was gonna freaking get murked. Oh, and then I would have been really upset. Whee. Okay, let's see how easily I defeat Legion with the freaking charge shot. That's the only problem with the axes, is they arc so bad. See, Richter has good countermeasures against this, because he could swing his whip around all stupid. Okay, I'm gonna get the... actually, I don't know if it'll keep the charge, since it's gonna load the next screen. Yeah, it probably wouldn't have kept the charge. So let's charge this up. This is bad. What? There we go. Yeah. That was exciting. Just have the area load. No reason to come over here because there's just no items. And then they have the audacity to put those frickin' things in here. Yeah, like I need the platforms. Okay. I can't remember. I think I should be able to go to the garden now. Should, if I can actually get over there. Not get murked coming through back here. Okay. Oh, yeah. These guys I actually have to fight through, so let's charge it up. Charge it up and please no. I don't want to die to fire. Okay, cool. Now it's just a matter of just getting back up to the teleporter so we can actually go, because I think I can go to the underground garden now. I don't remember what unlocks that pathway. Something does, I just don't remember what exactly. Oh, man. god, that's OP. That's my only complaint with that, man, is like you freaking get hit and it freaking knocks you out of your charge. It's not a fun thing. Okay, wait. That's not... No, that's not where I need to be.
Wait, that's how the map floats?
Yeah, because, you know, the Sega Saturn controller didn't have, like, a select button like the PlayStation controller does, so you have to pause the game and press L. I had to actually look that up because I didn't know how to do it.
So you're just heading over to the underground area?
Yeah, I'm gonna see if it's accessible. I'm not sure if it is or not. I know that you have to hit a certain point before it unlocks, but I can't remember if I've done that yet or not. It's really weird because, like, for Maria, when she's in the entrance, it plays the Vampire Killer remix, but that was what played in the Underground Garden for Richter. So I wonder if they swapped the music tracks for the characters.
Jesus, I don't remember the zombies having that much.
Oh yeah, it's open. Sweet. So let's see. Will it play Bloody Tears? I wonder. No, it's just two different versions of Vampire Killer. That's weird.
Those are like the only songs that ever get used in this.
Yeah. Which is weird because there's two. Oh no, I think it's optional. Like it's a different boss music because there's two different versions of Bloody Tears that are in this this version.
Yeah, because I know the Maria boss fight in this one had a different theme entirely.
Kind of wish they had made these areas longer. If they'd actually take the time to like design proper areas, that I think would be have been a lot cooler. Because I know like a lot of the common complaints is that a lot of this stuff is just asset flips from other areas that they've used, aside from like the few new enemy designs that end up in these areas. God. Dang, that took a lot of damage for what? Kill it, please. Oh, I totally didn't mute myself in Discord. Sorry about that.
No biggie. boy, some leaks from Soul Calibur.
What's that?
Yeah, apparently there were some roster leaks for the new Soul Calibur.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Let's see. It's the only new Cervantes, no surprise. Astaroth and Lizard Man.
You know, for as much noise as the level 3 charge make, it doesn't... Oh my god, he knocked me out of it. There we go. Axe him to death.
Yeah, that boss does not look very impressive.
Yeah, I know. For a boss that's exclusive to this version, you'd think they would have actually put a little bit more effort. I mean, it is kind of neat that like some of these enemies they did actually add in, but it's just like it's not the best thing to write home about. Like, honestly, the only reason I'd recommend this version to, like, literally anybody is just to play the Maria mode because of how different it is. But that's literally it. Like, there's, like, I don't really care for the new areas. The new items aren't something to write home about because it's like you're going to get better items somewhere down the line anyway. Like, I know one of the big things was like, oh, they added a new Alucard weapon, the Alucard Spear, but it acts just like a sword. So it's like, why?
Okay, what the hell are those?
The things in the water?
Yeah, those fatsy ones.
Yeah, those. I looked up the name of them, what they were, because of course everything's in kanji, so I can't read it. But I remember looking up the name. I don't remember what they. I think they dropped something important too. Like if you play as Alucard, like they have some special item or something that they drop. Oh, that's where I need to go. Yeah, so that will work. Go to the church because I haven't yet. You know, I find it funny. Like I remember watching the Angry Video Game Nerd do his like whole Castlevania review series, and when he gets to Symphony, he complains about the load times. I'm like, this one's worse. This one's a lot worse with the load times.
Yeah.
Like, you have load times at bosses, you have load times after bosses, you have load times between areas, sometimes load times between areas within areas, so it's just like, this one's a lot worse with the load times. It's probably not as bad, like, I mean, physically, it's probably, like, ridiculous how long the load times are for me, since I'm just using emulation, it's not too bad, but still, there's a lot more load times present in this version than there are in the PS1 version. So we got lucky. Oh, I don't need to save it, I just did. Oh, but I did need to come up here. Some of the sub-weapons are here. I wanted to see what some of them do. That's boring. All the other sub-weapons do exactly what they do with Alucard. It's just like there's
like a different pattern with the Bible.
Yeah, it's like the knives you throw 3, the axes you throw 3, and then the holy water for Maria is different. It lingers longer. and hits a lot harder. Like, hits more rapidly than I think Richter's and Alucard's Holy Water does. That is something I have wanted to do, just to like get a physical copy for, is just a graphically comparison, just to see if like half the crap that looks really awful, if it's just attributed to the emulator, or if that's actually how it's supposed to look. Because I do notice, and I do attribute this to the emulator, it could be something completely different, but I do notice a lot of floor texture issues, where like if you get too close to the floor in some areas, like it just... like, you just see emptiness, so you just see, like, the freaking background image. And it's just like, I don't think that's how it's supposed to do, but...
Yeah, that definitely sounds like an emulator bug, but I'd imagine there's a YouTube video available that has it being run on physical hardware.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, the only problem is I know that somebody told me... I think I was in a charity live stream, and I found out a couple things. Like, I found out that to play like PAL or Japanese version games on like Nintendo consoles, like old ones, some of them like the Super Nintendo and the N64 just have like clips that prevent like the PAL or Japanese cartridges from going in, so you can just clip them, and you can actually play, you know, PAL or Japanese games. And I heard that with the Saturn, if you have an action replay, you can circumvent the region lock that way.
I think that's how it was for the PlayStation. So.
Yeah, the only problem, the problem is the action replay for Saturn is super expensive. So it would be probably cheaper. I actually found a website that does modifications to systems, and they actually do a region lock switch, like flip switch for the back of your Saturn, so you can switch between the regions and switch between the hertz, so you can get the picture to show up properly on your TV.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's way cheaper than I like to get that modification done than it is to buy an action replay. Because like between the action replay and probably like the 120, 150 you're going to be spending for a physical copy of this game, it might be cheaper just to look at modifications that somebody could do to your console for region unlocking. Or I actually did at one point. There's this Japanese website that I don't know if you've ever watched Import Gaming, FTW. He got this big ass order from this Japanese website that I went and took a look at, and I finally was able to like navigate to the Saturn section, and like I think I did the currency conversion. They actually had a Japanese Saturn. I don't know if it was like boxed or missing stuff, but they only wanted like 25 American dollars for it. And I was like,
wow,
damn,
cheap.
That's not bad for a Japanese Saturn. Yeah, that's the one thing I love about like going to like a website like that, like Japanese websites, and seeing like, you know, the Street Fighter Alpha games, like how cheap they are, the Japanese versions compared to the US versions for Saturn. Because the US versions for Saturn are ridiculously expensive for no reason. It's like you could probably play Alpha 3 and, you know, all the Alpha games in better formats than freaking trying to hunt down Saturn copies.
And now people say the Saturn tend to have their ports a lot better than PlayStation did back in the day.
I would agree. I have Night Warriors for my Saturn, and it runs pretty well. It's just... the only downside is you're stuck to playing with the Saturn controller. I don't know if there was ever a arcade stick made for Saturn. I never looked into it.
Yeah, that is a good point.
I mean, hell, there were arcade sticks made for like the N64 and stuff. It wouldn't surprise me if there's one floating around for Saturn somewhere. How good it is beyond
even
me.
the GameCube had an arcade stick. I'd imagine Saturn would have one.
Really? I didn't actually know that the GameCube did. I knew that the GameCube had that crazy keyboard controller.
Oh.
The one where it's just like, it's a keyboard sandwich between two sides of a GameCube controller. You're just like, oh my god, that
I
design.
thought that was a Photoshop.
No, I think that's actually a legitimate controller that they sold, but I don't think it was like a very renowned controller, because I think it was like primarily made for like Phantasy Star Online or something. Like whatever Phantasy Star they released for GameCube that was online only. I think it was specifically for that. And it's just like that's a bit much. I'd rather just get an actual keyboard. It always makes me laugh too, because my older brother, he actually had the PS2 version of Final Fantasy XI that came with the hard drive you needed to even be able to play the game, because you had to install it onto the PS2.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he still has it, but the one thing that blew my mind about that was the manual was like freaking as thick as a dictionary. Like how big the manual was. I was just like,
Wait,
oh my.
seriously?
It was thick. Like, I mean, I'm over exaggerating it, but yeah, the manual for the Final Fantasy XI for PS2 is just insanely thick. It's like, oh my god, you're gonna freaking be there for ages learning how to freaking play this damn game. I'm sure a lot of like, because I know that the PS2 has USB ports, so I'm sure that you could probably find a keyboard and mouse and just freaking circumvent a lot of the issues, because like trying to play an MMO on a controller, because like my older brother was playing Final Fantasy 14 with us, because he just has a like a Mac, so he can't run Final Fantasy 14 on his Mac, so he was playing through his PS4 since there's cross-server play, and he was like, yeah, it's not fun playing with a PS4 controller. You get used to it after a while, but I would prefer a mouse and keyboard. Never got to experience. I think the only time I ever played a game online for the PS2 was when Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence came out and Metal Gear Online was first introduced. That was the only time I ever actually got to play a online game on PS2. Because I think with the original model, I think it was with the hard drive that came with the expansion that gave you the Ethernet port. Because I don't think it natively had an Ethernet port. And then like all the Slim models natively had an Ethernet port after that.
I don't know. I never had a PS2.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I wound up with an Xbox instead.
Nice. Yeah, like I was kind of that. Like I was the odd one out. Like freaking everybody that I knew and hung out with freaking all had Xboxes, so they were all talking about Halo and Fable, and I was like, well, there's some cool stuff on PS2 as well. You know, Kingdom Hearts, Soul Calibur.
I mean, we weren't completely left out of Soul Calibur.
I wish they had actually released the, there was a version they made specifically for arcades for Soul Calibur 3 that was actually better than the original. Like, it did a lot of balance fixes and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they made, what was his name, Lee Long into his own character in that one?
Yeah.
It was either him or Huang. It was definitely one of the older characters that was brought back. And I just remember hearing all the crazy stories about how Soul Calibur 3 would mess up your memory card depending on how you moved your files.
I never had that issue. I think there was one game I did have that ended up getting corrupted, and I can't remember what it was. I think it was like one of my RPGs or something, and I hadn't touched it for years, so like it ended up corrupted on my memory card, and I was like, oh, I wonder what that was. And then it was like, when I went to go play that RPG again, and I didn't have a save data, I was like, oh, that was probably what that corrupted data was. I just love when I found out that there was a, they offer a memory card for PS2. It has 128 megabytes of memory on it. And I remember thinking, oh my god, that'd be so convenient. I could literally have like every game on just one memory card. I wouldn't have to like shuffle through multiple memory cards. And then I read a bunch of like negative reviews of people just saying it takes forever to load like anything or save anything on that memory card. And I'm just like, oh yeah, yeah. I actually heard about that with the PlayStation Vita. Surprisingly, I heard the same thing. That the higher memory cards you get, like if you get the 64 gig, like it just takes forever to save and load things that are saved to the memory card, and I'm just like, oh, that sucks. Like, because you think that the more memory you have, it's just like, oh, I can add more stuff. But if it's at the compromise of load speed, that sucks. I thought load speed was a thing of the past.
And then maybe it's how they allocate that size. I don't know.
I do always think it's funny though, like playing modern games that actually do take time to load. It's like, man, I remember the days of you just popping in a cartridge in the game not needing loading. Loading didn't happen until disc-based consoles.
And of course, you had the 32-bit days of CD-based consoles.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, you've been following the Crash Insane trilogy?
Have I played it?
Yeah, have you been like following it at all?
Not following it. I mean, I bought it and I've played it. I haven't played a lot of it. But no, what's up? Is there been...
Yeah, so like with the new ports coming out, apparently because of the porting process, they did a lot of updates to the game where it actually loads even faster than before.
Oh wow!
And they've gone out of their way to actually make a new physical copy with all the patches built in.
Wow, that's actually pretty cool. Man, that's freaking commitment from Sony. I have to give them that. Yeah, I know my brother's excited because he didn't have a PS4 for a long time, but he was an early adopter of the Switch, so he was super excited to hear that the Crash trilogy was going to be released on Switch. I was excited for Spyro, but I don't think I'll have the money to buy it. I'm hoping I might. I'm not really 100% sure because Code Vein comes out around the same time, unfortunately, and I've had that pre-ordered way longer. Like, so I think I even got it at like the discounted Amazon price when I had a Amazon Prime like free month or whatever, so I got it cheaper. So I'm just like, that's gonna probably take more precedence than Spyro, because I know at least like one or two of my friends are getting Spyro, so it's like, you know, when they're done with it or they get bored with it, I could just borrow it.
Yeah, I pretty much have to wait on Spyro because that's not coming out to PC right away. I'd imagine it's going to come out later.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised they actually didn't make it a console exclusive this time around.
Yeah.
Or initial console exclusive.
Yeah, and it's like, I think, like, between Code Vein, like, there's, you know, just other stuff coming out, like, right after Code Vein, just, like, a little bit later is, they're gonna bring out freaking, Mega Man 11, so it's just like, I'm gonna be busy with that, and then December rolls around, and I'll be busy with Smash Bros, and then after that, Tales of Vesperia Definitive is coming out, so...
Oh man, I am so excited for that.
Oh, you have no idea, dude. That's the game that got me into the Tales of series, and
same here.
I love that freaking game. And like when I found out that there was the international version that never got here and it had additional content, I'm like, man, I really want them to bring it out now that Definitive is coming out. And it's like, oh, it's gonna have all that content. I'm like, yes, finally! I don't have to import it.
I'm curious to see how they're gonna handle the voice lines and
that'll be interesting. Okay. Wait, no.
But they're saying it's not gonna come out till winter at some point.
It's set for like the end of December or sometime early June or January. Sorry, not early June. Yeah, that'd be ridiculous. I mean, it'd be nice for me since, you know, I have to like budget my money and everything like that for it to come out later, but nah, yeah, no, I'm super like that was my takeaway from E3 actually. Like that was the thing that like I got the most excited about. Like oddly enough, like there's new games coming out, but it's like, hey, look, it's a freaking port. That's the thing that I'm the most excited they announced.
I think it's between either that, Yakuza on PC, and what else? Metal Wolf Chaos.
Yeah, the Metal of Chaos announcement is actually really freaking cool. I'm really impressed that they're actually porting that.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice that we finally get a chance to play it outside of Japan.
Yeah.
It's always kind of weird how probably the one, oh, I wouldn't say the one, but probably one of the few games that was released for the Xbox that never left outside of Japan was essentially a game based on, or the premise was essentially you being the United States of America fighting your enemies with a mech.
Yeah, yeah, no, a lot of people always thought that that was kind of funny, like, and ironic. It's just like, why did this never get released here?
Also, that giant skull looks really bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You can tell they couldn't pull off transparency. You just had to.
Yeah, because they even had to change, you know, the crystal cloak has that transparency effect on Alucard. They had to change the cloak entirely. It's now called like I think the American translation is like shining or glowing cloak, so it's just this like white cape. Like, yeah, it's really bad. But then they add in cool stuff, like one of the cloaks they added was the rainbow cloak, and it actually is it like color swaps. So it like changes its palette, and I'm like, that's cool. Why can they do stuff like that, but they can't get a simple transparency effect right?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be a limitation on the Saturn because that's pretty much a consistent problem with these kind of games when you have transparency effects.
Yeah, and I know that the hardware in the Saturn is just really, really like just really
like
weird.
It's good for 2D, but not for 3D.
Yeah, like I know that was like a common issue that like a lot of developers faced was programming stuff for this system just because of how weirdly it was made. Like the hardware inside is just like this crazy combination of things, and that's why it's like you got cool stuff like for the time. In any case, like you look at like the first Panzer Dragoon in the first level, you're just like in like, you know, you're flying over the ocean and the water effect looks really cool, and it's like, well, that was like an in-house made game specifically for Saturn, so it's like, you know, they had the time to actually kind of work around the hardware and everything like that. Like a lot of these are just ports, you know, so it's like they don't really have a lot of time to work around the hardware or anything or learn it. And I like too that they had to actually change like death animations on some enemies. It's actually really funny.
Oh, in this game?
Yeah, like the one of the notable examples is in the inverted castle when you run into the fire demons. Like when they die in the PS1 version, they like become like a silhouette with like a burning effect. And this one they fade out and change it to like a corpse for a brief second, and then just do like a fire particle effect. It's really weird. It's just like, wow, they couldn't emulate the death animation. Like, why?
Yeah, like I noticed whenever an item spawns in after being a boss, it just sort of like it's just all these mishmash of the same sprite.
Yeah, I know one thing too is that the Saturn ran at a higher resolution than the PlayStation did, and so I know that that's one thing is that they took the PS1 version, but they didn't like try to rework it to where the resolution was proper. They just stretched it, so it's like you get these weird like blob pixels or things look like, you know, I know some people say Richter looks fat in some instances because like his pixels are just stretched. And it's like, why did they do that? Like, why didn't they just try to remake the game and, you know, fix the resolution so it's proper for the freaking Saturn? Oh yeah, these guys freaking turn into ghosts.
Anyways, I gotta head out for a bit. Have fun.
Alright, man. It's fun having you. Take it easy.
You too.
Oh man. Yeah, probably gonna be calling it here soon, guys. So I just realized I'm like an hour or something in, but I figured we'll complete the basic castle. We'll get to the inverted castle, or at least, you know, we'll get to the back to the castle keep, and we'll save it there, and we'll start up the inverted castle in the next stream. Yeah, I figured come by, hang out in the IAS Discord, chat it up. I know it's kind of one of those weird days where sometimes people aren't available and things like that, so. But, yeah. Oh, yeah. Nah, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh, no. Okay, we're just axe it to death. I missed. That's fun. Oh my god, if I actually die to this boss, I'm gonna be really upset with myself. I mean, I will give it that. Some of these bosses that you can just steamroll with Richter and with Alucard, it's so much nicer to actually have a boss fight. Like I think that's like one thing I'll actually give the Maria mode, is that you actually have to be a little bit more intuitive with how you approach the bosses, because like you can't just steamroll them. Like every boss in the game with Richter is just Hydrostorm. You can just Hydrostorm pretty much every single boss in the game with Richter with Hydrostorm, except Galameth. Galameth is like the only boss in the game you can't do that to. But yeah, it's just like, you know, it's actually a really nice thing to actually, you know, be a little bit more. You actually have to be a little bit more intuitive. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to be it for me and for this episode of A Dose of Retro. And I hope you guys all are enjoying this. I am having a lot of fun with this. It was nice to chat it up with Singlong. I really appreciate it, man, you coming by. That was a lot of fun. So hopefully maybe next time I stream, I'll hop in, like maybe another Discord, maybe see if I can chat it up with some other folks, see if they want to come and watch and have a good time. But yeah, I've reached, I think right now it is currently, I'm sitting at 1 hour and 11 minutes. I typically don't like to make these streams go longer, but I figured this is a good stopping point for the stream. So we will be taking on the inverted castle in the next stream, and I hope you guys all look forward to that. So until then, this has been Daybreaker Rein, and I will catch you all in the next one. Take it easy, everybody.